Presenting the world's only business school without the BS.
He be the Z and I be the C. Teaching business skills from A to Z. We both grew up poor, but we're poor no more. The goal of this show is to help you score. I couldn't see the light until my son could see, but I learned to rock the mic in the high school scene. A young DJ with a $1 billion dream. All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the conversation. It is the Thrivetime show on your radio, and we're talking about today becoming the elephant in the room. Again, becoming the elephant in the room. The 57 words of wisdom, the 57 mindsets that you need to become a source of wisdom. I mean, this is big. I don't know if you're aware of how big this could be for your life, but I can tell you, I built DJconnection.com to a level before we sold the company where we were doing up to 80 weddings on a weekend. 80 events. I mean, that's 80 disc jockeys, that's 80 sets of speakers, lighting, that's all the checklists, all the systems, that's all the accounting, all the hiring, all the firing, all the compliance, all of that. And I got to a place where I started to win some awards. I won the U.S. Chamber National Blue Ribbon Quality Award. That was a huge thing. I won the Not.com Award for Best Disc Jockey Service. Not.com is kind of like the wedding police almost. A lot of brides will form a Not.com account before they get married. I mean, it's a big deal. I received the Entrepreneur of the Year Award for the city of Tulsa, age of 20. I received the award for the Metro Chamber, for the U.S. Small Business Administration Entrepreneur of the Year for the state of Oklahoma when I was 27. And I really wanted to. My prayer, my heart, my goal was to become a source of wisdom and not just be known as the disc jockey guy, because I was very good as a DJ, arguably the best in the region, perhaps the best in the country, based upon reviews and income and revenue and these kind of things. But I wanted to make an impact on the planet that was beyond just playing music and getting people in the groove. Now, I had a great time DJing. I mean, it was super fun getting people dancing. If you had a predominantly all-white crowd, I mean, those were the funnest to try to get them dancing, because none of them have ever danced before. I mean, if you go to an event where it's multiple cultures and people from all over the world, I mean, a lot of cultures dance. I mean, people that are from Mexico dance, African-Americans dance, people from India dance, but the Caucasian sensations typically, I mean, it requires a little bit of work, a little salesmanship. And so I was very good at that, but I wanted to make a mark beyond just being known as a good DJ, a great DJ. And so one of the things I decided to do was to focus on becoming a source of wisdom, to becoming the elephant in the room, the guy that people would say, if you got a business question, go ask Clay. And so I'm breaking down for you the 57 steps that you can take to become a source of wisdom. And by the way, if you do the research, if you look it up today, just look it up. Why do people stay at their job? Think about that. Why do people stay at their job? Why are people committed and excited about their job, and why do people hate it? Yes, compensation is one of the variables, one of the things, but people literally cannot stay at a job too long if they think their boss is an idiot. I mean, if they're thinking to themselves, with his boss, the guy, that I work for is a freaking numbskull. I mean, if their boss isn't a source of morality, if their boss isn't a source of wisdom, if their boss can't string together multiple days in a row of being on time, a lot of people will peace out. They'll leave. They'll move on. And so you can argue with what I'm saying, but look at the statistics. There's a lot of statistics out there talking about bad employees, but what about bad bosses? I mean, so I wanted to become a source of wisdom so I could keep good people, grow my companies, and move beyond just being the owner of a, kind of like a slumlord owner of a DJ company. And so this 11th mindset, as we go through our series on the 57 words of wisdom, this 11th mindset is the decisions to change take a split second. Remember, the decisions to change take a split second. It is the process that takes time. Remember, again, write this down. Someone should write this down. The decisions to change take a split second. It is the process that takes the time. I feel like that's really, really good. I probably should write that down myself. But the decisions to change take a split second. However, it is the process that takes time. It's like this with all things. You must embrace the process. You got to embrace the process. If you don't embrace the process, you're not going to win. Now, Rick Warren, the New York Times bestselling author, the founder and senior pastor of Saddleback Church, the evangelical megachurch in Lake Forest, California, which is the 8th largest church in the United States. He says, this is a notable quotable from Rick Warren, I'm reading here. He says, transformation is a process. And as life happens, there are tons of ups and downs. It's a journey of discovery. There are moments on mountaintops and moments in the deep valleys of despair. I'm going to read that again. Transformation is a process. And as life happens, there are tons of ups and downs. It's a journey of discovery. There are moments on mountaintops and moments in deep valleys of despair. So I had to learn to embrace stoicism. I had to embrace stoicism. Gosh, Clay, what does that mean, stoicism? I mean, do you really know what that means? Is that just a word you say? Because I've heard the word stoicism. I've heard about Stoics. What does it mean? Stoicism was an ancient Greek school of philosophy, and where they taught the endurance of pain or hardship without a display of feelings and without a complaint. Stoicism is the endurance of pain or hardship without a display of feelings and without complaint. So I used to get so worked up when we had a bad day. Whenever we had a customer complaint, it used to just rob my joy. I would lose the entire weekend. Someone needs to hear this right now. I'm not sure who you are, but somebody needs to hear this. I would lose entire weekends. I'm talking about massive weekends. Entire weekends of my life would be lost because somebody would complain about the DJ service. Now think about this. We did 80 weddings a week. 80. If we're doing 80 weddings a week, it's not even likely that I'm not going to get a complaint. But I want to make sure someone gets this. I had to learn the mindset of stoicism. It took me a long time to get it. But remember, I used to lose weekends. DJing was my passion. I would lose an entire weekend. I'm not even exaggerating. I would sleep in the closet by myself all Sunday. The entire Sunday, I would spend it by myself, so frustrated that we ruined someone's wedding. And you might say, well, you should be. But listen, we did 80 weddings a week. We would only usually get one complaint a week. But that one complaint would eat me. This is like this for professional athletes. As I've gone older, I've become friends with a lot of professional athletes. And it's interesting, but the professional athletes will tell me it's the shot I didn't make that haunts me all week. This means if we got one complaint a weekend at DJ Connection, that means we only made an error 1.25% of the time. But I'm not exaggerating. I would literally think about it, dwell about it, obsess on it, and that one deal I didn't get would rob me of all my joy and all my time freedom that I worked so hard to create. So I had to learn stoicism. And by definition, stoicism is the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings or complaint. And I had to learn that over time. And we come back, I'm going to teach you the 12th mindset you have to learn to become a source of wisdom. We're talking about how to become the elephant in any room. Stay tuned.
Want to attend the legendary Thrivetime Show Business Workshop for free? Subscribe on iTunes, leave an objective review, and send us confirmation at info@thrivetimeshow.com to claim your tickets. Want to live in a van down by the river? Come by and see us at our Riverwalk offices, and we'll be able to make your dreams come true.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the conversation. For those of you listening all around the world right now, specifically all of you who download the podcast consistently in South Korea, hello to you. It's kind of fun to see you on the map this morning. We've got a lot of people in South Korea, a lot of people in Australia downloading the podcast. We have Japan in the house. We've got South Dakota in the house, which is just off the coast. South Dakota, for those of you who aren't familiar with geography, South Dakota is just off the coast of Japan. No, it's not. I mean, think about it. The people all over the world are tuning in. I just want to say thank you and welcome back to another example of audio excellence. And we're talking about becoming the elephant in the room today. 57 words of wisdom and mindsets you need to becoming a successful person.
Yep.
Mindset number 12. The words we speak and hear can impact us either negatively or positively. For every word taken in from the environment around you that is negative, you must counterbalance it with 3 positive words. I'm going to try this again. Words we speak, the words we speak and hear can impact us either negatively or positively. So for every word that you take in from the environment around you that is negative, you must counterbalance it with 3 positive words. So here's a notable quotable from Mark Victor Hansen, who surpassed my favorite author of all time. Napoleon Hill was previously the world's #1 self-help author, and Mark Victor Hansen surpassed him with the writing of his book called Chicken Soup for the Soul. Chicken Soup for the Soul. I'm sure you've got one as a Christmas gift. I'm sure everybody listening, you've received one of those. So this is what he says. He says, don't wait until everything is just right. It'll never be perfect. There will always be challenges, obstacles, and less than perfect conditions. So what? Get started now. With each step you take, you will grow stronger and stronger, more and more skilled, more and more confident, and more successful. So, Steve, for anybody out there who looks at total lending concepts, and by the way, if you're looking to buy a house right now, the rates are going up. They're going up. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm just explaining to you how inflation works. As the government continues to spend more money than it brings in, the inflation rate will go up. Your money's worth less money all the time as a result of government spending. So one of the ways they decrease inflation is to raise interest rates.
Yep.
One of the ways they spike economic growth. Remember that recession? Steve, when was the recession the worst? Do you remember what year the recession got to be the worst it could possibly be in your profession as a mortgage banker or any profession?
07, 08, 09 was pretty nasty for mortgage.
It got to a point where they were giving you an $8,000 credit.
Oh, yeah. It went from like $7,500 up to $8,500 just to buy a house.
They were giving you $8,500 credit to buy a house.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how bad it got. So I want to make sure you get this. Steve's weathered the storms. He's gone through the best market ever. I mean, the bull market previous to the recession was crazy. I mean, you didn't even really need to have a job.
No.
The ninja loans, no income, no job verification.
Yeah, they call them like Nina or like no income, no assets.
Yeah, I remember
stated income. We had a
stated
you
income,
work at
which is
McDonald's.
hysterical.
Yeah, you work at McDonald's. You're buying investment property. You have a terrible credit score. You can get a rental property for no money down with a low credit score and state your income.
This is a guy who can't even manage his own life. Now he's going to get another investment property.
Yeah, he burns the fries half the times.
And so I'm just telling you, that's where, it was so easy to fund loans for a while there.
Oh, yeah.
Then there's an economic correction. Typically when there's a correction, the pendulum swings, and now they overcorrect. They're very intense with guidelines, and so you saw the market kind of grind to a halt.
Yep.
And now we're in kind of a sustainable place. But the rates are going up. So if you're looking to buy a house right now, go to stevecurrington.com. And you can get pre-qualified right now. I mean, you can apply for that. Now, Steve Currington, who's on the show today, Steve, for somebody out there who's listening, who doesn't think they have what it takes to become a Lamborghini driving mortgage professional like you, can you walk me through a time in your life where you were at the bottom? I mean, what was the part of your life where you thought, and you don't have to share something that's like embarrassing, but I mean, you're a very transparent guy. But can you think of a time in your life where you're like, man, I was at like the absolute threshold of hell, and if I could recover from that, you could recover from anything?
Yeah, 2 times. 2005, I was 24, 25, making 150.
You're making you're 24 years old, 25,000. You're 24 years old, 25 years old. You're making $150,000 a year.
Yeah, collecting debt, and I get fired from my job.
You got fired as a debt collector.
Yep, I got a wife, 2 kids, house, mortgage, all that stuff. And then I got in the mortgage business. So I started, I think I made $150 my last full year as a debt collector.
You made $150,000 a year your last year as a debt collector.
In my first year in the mortgage business, I made $13,000.
$13,000. Now, for those of you who aren't really into math, I want to make sure you get this. If you take 13,000 big ones, Steve.
Yeah.
13,000 big ones. And you divide that by 12, you end up with $1,083 a month.
No, but that was per month. So I was like,
yeah, I mean, it's per month.
at $1,000.
Well, let's divide that by the number of days. I mean, right? So we take 1,083. I mean, this is how math works here, folks. This is exciting. The average month has, 30 days in it. So, I mean, Steve, you had $36 a day.
Yeah.
Dude, you could have a commercial like, if you want to feed do you want to feed a former debt collector who's trying to support his family for as little as $36 a day?
They didn't have GoFundMe back then.
They shouldn't have GoFundMe now. But anyway, The point is, so what happens is, I mean, if you're out there and you've benefited from GoFundMe because you sincerely can't help yourselves, you can't sincerely help yourself because of a actual disability, I get it. But how many people are on GoFundMe just abusing that system?
It's ridiculous. I got one a couple months ago where this lady said she wanted to surprise her husband with a trip to Hawaii. And did you want to contribute? And I wanted to I don't mean this bad, but I wanted to go to her house.
Right. Not in a bad way.
And just slap the crap out of
not
somebody.
Her, but somebody.
Not her.
Not even
but
not a human, but more of a wall.
I want to take a mannequin and look at her.
You wanted to bring a mannequin to her house and slap the mannequin and say, "Wake up!" Now,
come on.
I had an employee in our office who used to miss deadlines. Used to edit videos. I'm not kidding. And I had a meeting with him. This is how the meeting went. I said, "Hey, when you miss deadlines, what happens is it kills the trust of a client. So what I need you to do is not miss a deadline. Are we cool?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Now, if you don't hit deadlines and you keep doing this, I'm going to have to fire you." And I interview people. I've got a lot of good candidates, and I'm just telling you, I'm going to write you up once. If you miss another deadline, I'll write you up again. The third time, you're fired. Steve, does that seem like a fair conversation?
Yeah. You warned him once, you warned him twice, and it's 3 strikes, you're out.
I am not exaggerating. He literally forms a GoFundMe account on Facebook and says, "I'm worried about my job. I work for a tyrant. If you would like to GoFund go to GoFundMe.com." And people funded him.
It's crazy.
Because I'm a tyrant. I mean,
because you hold him accountable.
It was crazy. I mean, it was so crazy.
Yeah.
Multiple people were there to witness what I said, and they're like, "Dude, I don't know how in the world that guy freaked out." That's what happens, though. So, again, if you feel like you're at the bottom, though, right now, I want to make sure you get this. You've got to start to say positive things over yourself.
Yep.
So the song that I listen to a lot is by Carlton Pearson. And I know Carlton Pearson is not a Christian anymore, but he once was. And when he was, he led a church called Higher Dimensions.
Mega
and I
church.
remember going to Higher Dimensions back when it was a mega church. I mean, this guy was huge. He had the Azusa conferences where they had people from all over the world attending those conferences. And one of the songs he sang often at the conferences where thousands of people from all over the world were gathered at the Oral Roberts University Mabee Center is he sang a song called "Farther Along." And he would start off, he goes, "Farther along, we'll know all about it. Farther along, we'll understand why. Tempted and tried, we're often meant to wonder what it would be like on the other side." Everybody down. Everyone's "Farther along, we'll know all." And that would be the same song over and over and
Didn't
over.
Richard Roberts sing that? Didn't he do a really good...
I don't know that Richard Roberts ever sang any song well, but he believes he did. So I was at the chapels where he sang, and I can't remember a time where Richard Roberts sang a song well. This would be Richard Roberts. "Farther along, we'll know all about it. Farther along, we'll understand why." Everybody know. It's like a weird, it was like, "Hey, everybody. Farther," it's like a lounge singer kind of a weird. It was weird. "Farther along, everybody."
There's a YouTube video. You should put it in the
about
show notes of Richard Roberts singing that song.
It's just, anyway, so all I just say is that I have to speak positive things over myself, and I listen to praise and worship as a way to get myself going. I also listen to T.D. Jakes' messages, and you know what? I've had a lot of success. But you know what? Every single day, I have to speak positive things over myself. So here's the deal. Self-audit. Are you saying positive things to yourself or negative things to yourself? And if you're saying negative things to yourself, stop it. Start saying positive things to yourself. When we come back, we're going to talk about thinking it, writing it, and then speaking it into existence. Stay tuned.